Sora Mary F. Campbell was initiated at the Gamma Tau chapter at Tuskegee Institute in 1956. She joined Nassau Alumni chapter in 1978 and has been active in the chapter ever since. In the early 80s, Sora, who had been presently serving as the treasurer, resigned and relocated, so Mary stepped in and completed her term. She also served as the second VP under Sora President Vera Adams at that time. She was the unofficial recording secretary when the Sora who was in that post had to abandon the post as well. So again, Mary stepped in and finished out the term as recording secretary. She took the minutes at all the meetings and was able to complete the task. Sora Mary Campbell served as the undergraduate advisor for the Xi Gamma chapter, along with several other Nassau Alumni chapter sorors from 1980 to 1984. She served the chapter as treasurer under Sora President Tramila Ramsour, and then she herself was elected president in 1995 and served as the 16th president of Nassau Alumni chapter until 1999. Under her tenure, the fundraising committee was one of her committees that she was always involved with from 1978 up until now. She was very instrumental in starting one of the first Nassau Alumni chapter Jabberwocks back in 1983. Under her tenure, they also initiated what was called a Delta Loving Care Committee, which served sick and shut-in sorors who may have needed a ride to chapter meetings or just needed a friendly face to stop by and visit. She was instrumental with the Delteens, Project Cherish, and she was known as the Computer Age President because that's when things really started to heat up with computers. There was a change in the process, and the paperwork was submitted differently to national headquarters, and they even held classes in local schools and computer labs. There was a lot of progress under Mary's tenure. Mary also was instrumental in starting the Delta phone tree, which was a calling system that sent mass calls out to all the sorors in the chapter as the chapter was rapidly growing. It was a quick and efficient way to get the message out to sorors quickly and in mass numbers. She served as delegate at 2 national conventions in Orlando, Florida, and in New Orleans, Louisiana, under her tenure as president. The Delta Minerva Life Development Center, DMLDC, known to us locally, was reactivated under her watch. There was a line item in the budget that had attached to it Delta House, and she said that it was designated for that property. So that was during the time when DMLDC got its 501(c) status and became incorporated. During her tenure, the spring 1996 brought in a line of 35 women known as Proud to Be, and she called them her pyramids. Every president, she feels, should bring in a line, at least one line, during their 4 years in office. There were 2 very successful Jabberwocks under her tenure as well, where the money and the fundraising events actually tripled. She was very proud of this fact. Under Mary's tenure, the chapter celebrated its 35th anniversary and was able to really see the fruits of their labor and the growth in the chapter. At one point, Mary presented and convinced the chapter during a PowerPoint presentation, which was pretty much new to many people at that time, and convinced sorors to increase the dues. She felt that maybe just the wow of the whole computer setup and the PowerPoint, but in the end, they voted to increase the chapter dues, and that was something she was very proud of. Sora Mary Campbell established what we still know as our present P.O. Box, P.O. Box 2148, which still exists, and she was instrumental in convincing sorors that regionals, Delta Days, national conventions, workshops, etc. were important for all sorors to attend, not just officers or committee chairs. And it was under her tenure that sorors began to travel in groups to conventions and conferences and Delta Days and other workshops outside the local area. Under her tenure, scholarships increased, and that is when the first $10,000 scholarship was awarded to a student in Nassau County. Under her tenure, they also worked closely with the Harriet Tubman Historical House and had a library in that historical house in Hempstead where they donated books. They even had a group of sorors that planted flowers and beautified the property. Sora Campbell and several Nassau Alumni Chapter sorors attended the 75th anniversary of the Women's Suffrage March, and they unofficially joined in along with the national president and several other sorors along the parade route. Under Sora Mary Campbell's tenure, the chapter moved from the traditional candle holders, or plain rather candle holders, to the crystal ones we use now, and also the big pretty bronze sigma that we use at Founders Day and during membership intake. Under Sora Campbell's tenure, they also had Sunday brunches entitled The Essence of Violets and Pearls. They had them at several establishments in the area, the Crest Hollow Country Club, Chateaubriand, just to name a few. Nassau Alumni was proud under her tenure as they were always in compliance, and back then at the conventions and the conferences they would list all of the chapters on the board that were in compliance, which meant their forms were all in and everything was filled out in a timely manner. And what was even more proud, she was more proud of, was that the president of the chapter that was in compliance got to wear a star on her badge during the convention.